up, guys? It's Monday Night Football, Week 7, Monday Night Football. Last week, it's another doubleheader, too. Last week, we had 2 Monday Night Football games, and both the underdogs won. The Falcons upset the Bills, and then the Bears upset the Commanders. Rest in peace to my boy, Chrissy Boy. Rest in peace to him. Shout out. My Eagles are on a 2-game losing streak, so we share pain. All right, but I am happy that y'all could get the win.
Commanders would have won that game. They would have been the division.
Yeah. I am happy. I was just in the middle of saying that.
We wouldn't hear the end of it this week.
But now we are talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Detroit Lions, and we are going to also be talking about the Houston Texans playing the Seattle Seahawks. 2 games that I think are very evenly matched. I do think they're very evenly matched. I'm very excited for that Bucs game, to be honest with you. I wish the Bucs were a little more healthier.
Yeah, that would make a great game, honestly. But all right. Well, I'm gonna be doing the Tampa preview game.
You still don't think it's gonna be a great game? I guess you're gonna tell us right now.
I support the Bucs because they're my hometown team, but still Patriots.
I'm only
on
letting
top.
you wear that in here because we beat them this season.
Well, last year I gave you hell because I wore Bucs gear for a week straight after they beat y'all. So that was a great time to be alive here. But then I sucked in fantasy football that year. Now I don't. So I feel good.
Which one would you rather have? The Eagles lose and you terrorize me?
I don't want you to face the Eagles to lose because then you're just pissed off and you're just like in a really shitty mood all week. But I'm
doesn't affect my mood that much.
He don't text me as much when the Eagles lose. I know that for a fact.
When the Eagles lose and I'm in Tampa, in the blistering sun, yes, I am in a bad mood after that. Okay? But or the Cowboys, they lose to the Cowboys or the Commanders, I'm in a horrible mood. But most of the time, it doesn't affect my mood too much. Go on.
Anyway, I'm going to be covering Tampa game. He'll be covering the Seattle and Texans game, is it right? Yeah. Okay. So, my bold prediction for this game will be Kate on over 50 receiving yards. Kate on's been a no-show this year for the most part. Tight ends have accumulated 316 receiving yards against the Lions this season. That's a 52.6 yards a game. And going into this game, Tez Johnson is the wide receiver 1 for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Ibuka is out. Godwin is out. Evans is questionable, but most likely won't play. And then Bucky Irving is also out this game, which is another passing attack out of the backfield. So it's really going to be up to Sterling Shepard and Tez Johnson. So I'd assume Kate Allen would be a big target for Mr. Baker Mayfield.
It's very surprising that Kate Allen hasn't had a good game this year. Because in most games,
he did last week,
of those
but
receivers,
that was the best week.
But when most of the games, looking at last year, because Godwin and Evans take turns missing time.
Yeah.
Kate Allen steps up.
Yep.
But they also didn't have Ibuka. So
they also don't have the same offensive coordinator as well. They have a new offensive coordinator as well. Yes. And he doesn't seem to like Kate Allen that much. But so I would assume Kate Allen would be a bigger target for Baker. Also, no Brian Branch since he's suspended after whacking Juju Smith-Schuster in the face after the game last Sunday
Really?
night. Yeah.
That's a big take. I didn't know that he got suspended for that.
Yeah.
That's who's would have been guarding Otten. Mm-hmm. Go on.
The Lions have allowed 13 receiving touchdowns this year, 3 to the tight end and 10 to the wide receiver. Their defensive plan will be simple against this beat-up Tampa team. I think Kaon has a big game. I think Baker's going to be getting rushed by Aiden Hutchinson most of this game, and he's going to have to check it down to his tight end. He's going to have no choice but to give the tight end the ball. If Kate Allen doesn't go for 50 yards on this really hurt Tampa Bay offense, we're kind of screwed with Tampa because they're so injured. Kate Allen could be your guy to possibly win this game and beat Detroit. You guys could beat Detroit. You guys can.
If you run the offense through Kate Allen.
Yeah? Yeah. Because you guys don't got... I guess Rashad White has been going off.
He's been doing all right.
But that's it, So
I'm surprised you didn't go Baker over 225 or over 1.5 touchdowns.
I think they're going to run the ball more.
Okay.
I think they're going to use
I think Baker's going to have a huge... I think they're going to throw the ball just because I feel like teams throw the ball a lot against the Lions. And this game's in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in a dome. I feel like that's just shootout.
All right. Well, I do support Tampa. I have a certain love for them. I do. They're my hometown team. But I have the Lions to win this game, 31-24. Yes, Baker Mayfield is having an MVP season.
I think he has another huge game.
Yes, he's making magic happen at the end of these games. And yes, the Bucs are very beat up and still 5-1. That's impressive. But don't get distracted by the fact they could easily be 1-5.
Yes, they're all one possession games.
Yes.
Except for last week.
If there were 12 seconds left on the clock in each of the games they won this year, they would be 1-5. Since 3 or 4 of those wins came down to the last play of the game. This will probably be the best overall defense they have faced all year. They beat Atlanta and Seattle, who have good defenses. But another strong defense in the Eagles, they lost to at home. Okay? I'm convinced this injured offense can't walk into Ford Field against a team who they, by the way, are going to be fired up after losing to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football and come out over win.
And losing pretty convincingly. They didn't just lose. They lost pretty bad.
The Bucs have been squeezing past their opponents while the Lions have been winning comfortably for the most part. And honestly, if Fred Warner doesn't get hurt last week, they lose that game. I'm just going to be completely honest because the 49ers only lost by 11 points.
Yeah.
Right?
You really think Fred Warner would have won them the game?
Having him on that defense changes everything.
Yeah, he's the leader.
So Baker is 2-2 against the Lions, including the playoffs. I think it will be a great game for him.
Great game.
I think he's going to have a good game. I think Tampa is going to play this Lions team tough. But at the end of the day, Lions are the better and healthier team. Health is big here because the Bucs are the second most beat up team in the league behind the 49ers.
What about the Ravens?
That's top 3. I think the Ravens are third, but they're not as
They're missing
beat up.
7 Pro Bowlers. But go on.
But when those Pro Bowls were in, they still lost, right?
Okay.
So
whatever.
let's just we haven't seen Tampa at full strength yet.
Yeah, no, Tampa is 100% a better football team than the Ravens.
The Bucs are due for a loss. They've had near misses with the Jets. They had near misses all season, even with the Jets. 0-16, by the way, only beating them by 2. That's for my fellow Tampa fans that I work with every day. But it's time for a loss, and it's a slap back into reality for you Tampa fans. Get healthy, gear up for the rest of the season. The Falcons won by... So in the Falcons game, Tampa only won by 3. Texans, they won by 1, where the Texans had 4 opportunities to win it. So the Texans really beat themselves. Jets, they only won by 2. At home, not convincing at all. Eagles, they lost by 6 at home to the Eagles, which is a good quality Super Bowl team. Seahawks only won by 3 on a last second heave, on the last second play. And the 49ers, they were the most comfortable win that they have had all year. And I put on quote unquote because that's the first game they've won over 5 points.
Yeah.
So that's the most comfortable win they've had.
They've won a game by over 1 possession.
Exactly. But that team is also very banged up and lost their second best player mid-game, which could have changed the game completely, and it did change the game completely.
So is Christian McCaffrey the best player on the Niners?
Yes.
You're saying? Okay.
Yes. And then it's Fred Warner by it.
Okay.
But the Bucs' only win this season that was comfortable was against also a banged up team. So Tampa, yes, Baker Mayfield is playing out of his mind, and they're a great. I mean, he's saving Todd Bowles' job. Let's just be real. But they're not healthy, and the Lions are hungry. They're mad, losing to the Chiefs, and they're playing at home. It's a recipe for a Bucs loss, and the Bucs will go into 5-2, setting up a 7-2 versus 7-2 matchup when they play New England in a few weeks.
You hear that? That's a bold take right there. He says the Bucs are not going to lose a game after this week, and the Patriots aren't going to lose a game until they play the Buccaneers. So,
damn right.
So be ready for that. What is it? Week 10?
Yeah.
Week 10 matchup. Yeah, because they're both going to have 9 games. All right, that's going to take us to the 10 o'clock kickoff game, Seahawks versus Texans. I think this is going to be a very close game. I don't know how exciting of a game it's going to be. The over-under of this game is 40.5, and that's going to back up my bold prediction, which is going to be the Texans will score under 21.5 points. All right?
Okay.
They are not going to score over 20 points. I think they're going under. This is a game for under. Though, like I just said, the over-under is set at 40.5, which means both teams are scoring pretty low. All right? Before playing the Titans and the Ravens, the Texans were averaging 12.2 points per game. Okay? The Seahawks have only allowed over 20 points per game in one game this entire season, and that was the game against the Buccaneers. Okay? They've only allowed one game over 20 points. If you think they're going to allow this Texans team to go over 21 points at home in Seattle, I think you're wrong. Okay? The Buccaneers have a potent offense, and they have injuries. The Texans have all these weapons, and they can't put it together. Okay? The Seahawks are ranked 6th in scoring, in points allowed. The Seahawks allow the 6th least amount of points per game, and the Texans' offense is not gelled. They're not doing good. C.J. Stroud had the worst start to the season out of anybody. They were 0-3, and C.J. Stroud had 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That is not a recipe for success. They're going across country. They're a defensive team. They have DeMeco Ryans as their head coach. But I think it's pretty plain and simple, and I think the Texans go over 21 points. I can't give you a player prop, all right, because I don't like any of the matchups. These defenses are both strong. Both these defenses are strong, but Texans under 21.5. Now we're going to talk about this game, all right? Both teams had 2 totally different starts to the season. The Seahawks started 3-1, beating mediocre teams in the Steelers, Saints, and the Cardinals, while the Texans started 0-3, losing to the Rams, Bucks, and the Jags, all teams over 500. The Seahawks are 2-2 versus teams over 500. They also have only won a single game at home. That was versus the Saints. So even though they're 2-2 over 500 against opponents over 500, they've only won one game this entire season at home, and that was against the Saints. All right, the Saints are a very, very, very bad road team. Yes, they make things happen in a dome, in the Superdome, because it's inside in controlled environments, but on the road, they are not very good at all. Houston has won 2 straight since the slow start at the beginning of the season, beating the Ravens and the Titans before their bye week. So they go into the bye week with a little bit of momentum, crushing the Ravens and winning 26-0 in a shutout win against the Titans. My score prediction is going to be 21-20 Seahawks. I think it just goes over because I think everyone thinks under. And I think it's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to be a close game. These defenses are elite. Both these teams have very, very strong defenses. All right? The Texans have the number 1 ranked scoring defense, allowing 12 points per game. They allow under 13 points per game. The Seahawks are ranked 6th, like I said earlier, and they allow 19.5 points per game. The difference in this matchup is the Seahawks defensive line versus the Texans offensive line. The Texans offensive line is ranked 32nd by Pro Football Focus. So they are the worst offensive line in the league when it comes to Pro Football Focus, and that's a pretty good source if you ask me. Where the Seahawks defensive line has 20 total sacks, which is ranked 2nd in the entire league. Yeah.
20?
They have 20 sacks.
Through 6 games?
Through 6 games.
Oh
You
my
can look
God.
it up. They don't even lead the league. The Broncos lead the league with 30. The Broncos have insane. Nick Patino, he is going off. And I feel like I've mentioned him 5 videos in a row. I'm a Nick Patino fan. Okay, Benito. I can't even get his name right. But I'm a fan, and he is balling this year. But we're talking about the Seahawks and the Texans right now. The Texans have the worst offensive line in the league, and the Seahawks have the second most sacks in the entire league. That is a recipe for disaster. Jeez. All right? Now, let's talk about the Seahawks' offensive matchups versus the Houston's defensive matchups, okay? The last time QB Sam Darnold played against DeMeco Ryans and his defense, he had 181 yards and 4 touchdowns with no interceptions on the Vikings last year. So he threw 4 touchdowns, had 0 interceptions. Yes, he didn't clean it up on the stat sheet with only 181 yards, but to throw a perfect game of 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, that's pretty impressive. Yes, he had Justin Jefferson, but now he has JSN, who I think will be the league leader in receiving yards after this week with Puka Nacua hurt. All right? The Seahawks match up well against this Texans team. Both these defenses are great. Both of them. All right? And DeMeco Ryans has had a whole week to prepare for Sam Darnold. That's why I have this game ending 21-20. It's going to be a very close game. JSN has to go against Petrie, Stingley, and they have many more defensive backs that I can't think of right now.
They released CJ.
They did release CJ. If you're releasing CJ Gardner-Johnson, who actually just got released by the Ravens again.
Yeah, I know.
Golly, man. He just wants to play, and these teams are like, no, you have to earn your way. And he's like, no, I ain't doing that. Put me on the field right away. I don't know the playbook, but I'll run full speed and hit somebody. They're like, yeah, no, that's not how it works. Howie, bring him back. He knows your playbook, all right?
God,
he knows the Vic Fangio playbook. Bring him back, all right? Enough about that. I think the Texans are going to lose this game. I think the Seahawks, they're coming off. They just beat the Jags, all right? And the Texans lost to the Jaguars. The Seahawks beat the Jags 20-12, all right, in Jacksonville. That's pretty handily. I think the Seahawks at home, it's going to be too loud. That defensive line is going to be too much. If they get one of those cornerbacks back, because they have a lot of injuries right now, it's over for the Texans. CJ Stroud just doesn't look comfortable, and he's not going to look comfortable against this defensive line. The Seahawks, Sam Darnold, JSN, too many weapons, Kenneth Walker. I think they're going to beat this Texans team. I think it's going to be a close game, as I said, 21-20.
I like it. Yeah.
Another Monday night doubleheader, which I honestly don't mind. I ain't staying up for a 10 o'clock kickoff, but I think it's pretty cool that 2 teams play on Monday night.
It is, and I think it's the last one of the year as well.
No, I think there's one more.
Probably towards the end of the season when all bye weeks are done and over with. But yeah, I like it. I like that they have the Tampa game so early because this game's gonna be over by 10.
Yeah, which is gonna be nice.
If anything, so you could at least get one game in.
And I like that. That game's gonna be more entertaining than the Seahawks. The Seahawks and Texans defense. If you like defense, that's
defense,
a good game.
I was about to say if you like defense, that's gonna be a game for you. But if you like offense, this will be a game for you.
Absolutely.
So go Bucks, I guess you could say.
Tampa.
Bang!
We'll catch you on the next one, guys.